Yeah.
It's 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 a lot. Um, it's a lot of, for me, unnecessary stuff going on.
Hmm. It's a lot happening. I mean, right here in Chicago in itself, we have a lot of tragic things happening that are happening around us that shouldn't happen, and we have not figured out yet that we have to sometimes walk away from the things that our minds go to, you know, and that we have to walk away from the things where our hearts have not connected to, or the things of God have not connected to, and because people aren't able to understand that God did not design us to just be at war all the time. You know, that's not why we're here. We're not here just to be at war. We're not here to start. God brought us here to be worshipers. And how do you war when you're a worshiper? Like, yes, you can war in worship, but how do you war when you're worship? When your call is to be a worshiper, you're worshiping those those things of God. You're worshiping God. You're worshiping what He has called you to. Not called you to be because we don't want to worship that, but you're doing what He's called you to do as a worshiper. You're making sure that other people have a place to worship, come to be able to open up and worship, come to be able to live their lives pleasing unto God, giving them a design, giving them a blueprint, giving them help to be able to get beyond what they see. Because some of us are so tunnel vision because of what we've gone through, because of that journey.
Mhm.
And we don't understand that there's something else for us. You talked about getting to the other side. My first thought was the other side. You mean the other side of life? Because on the other side of life, we wouldn't know what that's going to look like anyway, because we haven't gotten there, because God is not taking us home to be able to see what it was. But then I thought about what you were saying and thought, do you mean the other side of this current journey?
Mhm.
And so with that, it's just for me, it's like, yeah, right now the journey that I'm on leads to another branch of a journey. So just like a family tree, there's branches, and every time you go up one side of the tree, you have to make a turn or something to get to the next branch, and that's another journey. Every turn that I make on this road is going to get me to another place, because if I go straight and I go to straight narrow and keep my mind faced forward, yes, I'm doing the straight and narrow. I'm able to walk it out the way God told me to do. I can get straight to where He telling me to go because it's already aligned, right? But we know that there's humps in the road. We know that on the road that you might get deterred. There might be a detour sign. You might not be able to get through here because that road is closed on that side. The enemy has asked God, like, can I try? Let me try to get that soul. And He like, oh, go ahead. My daughter ain't gonna turn. Go ahead. You can try. She ain't going nowhere. So you can he starts to throw trees down and make you stumble over things and put holes in the ground and scare you off with different animals, and you get to turning left or right and you get stuck over in these places, and then you're like, man, I'm on this whole different journey I'm going through. But that journey led right back around to back to that straight and narrow. It led right back around it, or it led to the next thing that God had you doing. God was like, see, no matter what you do, sickness, pain, hurt, financial stress, homelessness, abuse, mishandlement, misunderstandings, all of that, taking them away, wilderness, any type of thing. All of what you did, they still gonna stay. Because they know that I'm here, and they focus in on that I'm here. And my thought has been, because I've thought a few times about whether or not God was taking His hands off of me. And I used to be like, please, God, please don't let me go. I know I'm going through some stuff. I know I'm not right. I know I'm not living my life pleasing unto you. I know I'm not doing exactly what you asked me to do. I know I'm fornicating. I know I'm cussing folks out. I know I'm fighting all the time. I know I'm angry. I know I'm really, really hurt, and I'm bitter, and I'm all of these things. But don't take your hands off me. It's almost like the song that I was telling you about, the song we talked about that I ministered to you, um where the young lady asked God not to give up on her yet. And we were saying, well, that's weird. That's a weird song. And people were saying to me, like, that's a song of abandonment. That's It's the spirit on that song. And I'm like, yeah, there's a spirit on that song. But think about it. She's singing it from a place where most of us come from. We don't know God enough to know that He ain't gonna leave us. We don't know that someone we haven't studied His Word enough. We haven't gotten close enough to Him to know that, hey, at the end of that, He don't really leave you. Leave Him. He don't leave you. So I,
It's
yeah, I got that part. The please don't give up on me yet. That was me. It's not me now, but that was me then. Like, if you just don't give up on me yet, I'm trying. But you know where the yet comes from? It comes from other people giving up on you.
yeah,
So you're holding on to what other people have done. You're holding on to what other people have said. You're holding on to what other people's perspective of you are. I mean, they've taught you that you got like 15 minutes. I mean, I know I've told people you only got about a year with me. After that, I'm done. Like I done did all I can do here, but I can't stay here. But we're human, so some of us that is a short term relationship, and I gotta go because if I don't go, chaos comes to me. But some of us are just in the place of we just trying to get to our next, and we don't realize that we weren't supposed to leave this situation. We were supposed to stick it out until God told us to leave. But because we left, that left them in a place. My thing is to leave you like they talk about the world, leave the world better than we found it, leave the situation better than found. I plan on leaving people better than I found them. that's that's the plan for my life with other people. That if I can help you change, even if it's just one thing in your life, I left you better than you was when I found you. If I can get you to believe in yourself just a little bit, then I left you better than I found you. If I can help you get out of a situation into another headspace so that you can move on, then I left you better than I found you. And that's what my journey, that's what my goal is. That's what my beyond the scope is. I have to see beyond what's right there in front of me with the person and then move beyond that. And so yeah, that's where I am with all of this. It's like, don't give up on me yet. I'm like, okay, God, I know you're not gonna give up on me. So I'm asking you not to let me go. Don't walk ahead of me yet. How about that? Walk in front of me, but don't go too far ahead because I gotta catch up to where you at. So if we can do this side by side thing just a little bit longer before you say it's about time for you to adjust and I'm going to make a way for you. Can we do the side by side? I'm still with the 100. I'm like, I'm trying to stay with the 100. I don't want to be the one that got away. I don't want you to have to come find me. I'm like, I'm tired of you having to look for me because I done made a wrong turn. Or because something done drew me left when everybody else was still going right. Just if we can just keep me with the crew.
you know what? That actually, like, for real, hits home. Was I know when I first heard that song, I think I was telling you how it's like I can feel those words. You know, when I first heard it, it was on Instagram, and it made me go look it up. And it was like, man, I can feel those words that don't give up on me. Um, because I felt like I was still in that trying to understand stage without really being in that stage, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, but now it's gone from don't give up on me, because I'm not gonna lie, I was actually saying that in my prayers, like, God, please don't walk away from me. Don't let me go. Don't, don't say I'm tired of you, or I'm tired of her, or um when is she gonna get it? Um, all those things that, you kind of hit it on the head when you said you've heard before that, you know, I don't want to feel like I'm always needing, or you have to always come and save me. So just don't turn away from me. Don't get tired of me. Now is along the lines of, God, I trust you.
Mm-hmm.
I've always trusted you, but Now it's I trust you. I don't care what's going on. When I wasn't feeling good, and I trust you. I may not know what's exactly happening. I kind of got an idea, but I trust you. I trust you gonna pull me through this. I trust that whatever my body may be feeling at this moment, you are gonna pull me through. You're gonna get me through it. You're not gonna just allow me to feel this just for enjoyment. Um, I trust you. I trust that this is all happening for a reason. Um, I trust that each time it happens, I'm able to, and I'm noticing this, not switching the subject, but bringing awareness to myself, I guess. Um, I'm noticing now that every time I'm going through a storm, uh, I end up talking to somebody that's trying to understand because they're going through it. And I'm able to explain, okay, well, this is what happened with me. Yes, I go through it, and this is what I do. So you can either talk to your doctor or you can, but this is how I get past it. This is how I re-strengthen. Um, and I always start out when I pray, so God, I trust you. And it's funny, last night I was listening because, we have Touch Point Tuesday with our pastor. And while he was teaching, literally changed me. Oh God, kept popping in my head. Um, just changed me. I need to be more like you. So I had to end up listening to the song like, okay, I can't think of the lyrics, but those words by itself, it was like, listen. And for me, that falls in alignment with the topic today, beyond the scope, because I'm asking God to change me. So that's part of going beyond the scope. And you're right, you go from one journey, you're going to go through another one until your journey is officially over, which is when you're going home to Him. So, yeah, this, you got folks thinking all the way early in the morning, girl.
Listen, that ain't me. That's all
But,
God. I'm just here.
yeah, I mean, but it's real, and I'm actually grateful that some of these topics come to you because they always seem to flow. Well, not always. A lot of times, um, seem to flow with something that was discussed the night before, or I prayed about the night before, or it was a conversation. Of course, we weren't talking about scope, but we were talking about just the journeys of God and how that intertwines with you.
Yeah.
So, you know, which is why I brought up the fact that the words, those specific words, changed me. Oh God, make me more like you. Because in order to be changed and made more like Him, we have to go through that journey. And in the words like this, we have to be willing to seek and go beyond the scope of where we are today. Even those, in my opinion, and correct me if I'm wrong, but even people who grew up in church or something like that, or I think they call PKs or whatever, or just being pastors as adults or ministers, apostles, they still go through a journey. They still have a scope that they need to see beyond because you have so many people with you. And I love the fact that you brought up um, mentorship. That made me smile. Anyway, the fact that you brought up even the mentorship because that's another scope, that's another journey, and you do have amazing experiences that can help everybody else or others. That God say this is the person um, to move to their next, to
Yeah.
move to their next branch. Because some people's scope may be short, and some people's scope may be a little longer than the norm. You know, Or
Yeah.
some people have broken scope, so it could be a long scope, but it has little gaps in between. So their next journey starts pretty much immediately. It's not a stagnant situation, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I know,
Listening
I
to
know
this
that was a
is
lot, but
listen. It all folded together. It works. It's when it's stretched out. It's still on the same journey. Well,
you're
listen,
breaking
y'all. Of
up.
course, making sure that the scope definition of
Chanel,
scope. Yeah.
you're
Saying
breaking
what?
up.
Okay. Don't give up on me yet.
Let's see. Maybe we could try one more time.
What about now? Hello.
You can. Okay, go ahead. I think you're clear.
Okay. Well, I should have cut the
Yeah.
Wi-Fi back on from last night. That's what should have happened. Anyway, so um, so the definition of scope is the extent of the area or subject matter that something deals with, or to which it is relevant. They give the example we widen the scope of our investigation. But the words that are similar to that to scope is extent, the range, the breadth. Listen, this word throws me. It has thrown me off for years. The BREADTH, right? And then the width. So that word breadth is the distance or measurement from side to side of something, of how wide it is. So pretty much like the word width. But just to have the extent of the area or subject matter that something deals with, or to which is relevant. And then also they have access to investigation of something, a look at carefully, or to scan. Now, for me, the to scan is what got it. The scope for me is to scan around everything that's going on around me, to scan my atmosphere, to make sure, we talk about when we go in different churches, when we go to minister places, when we go, whether we preaching the gospel, we're dancing to it, we're going to worship because we're the worship leader for that day. So we singing or we playing in the atmosphere of the music. So we are either the sound of God, we are the voice of God, we are the movement of God, we are the sight of God. We are the description of what He called us to be. We still need to check out the atmosphere. We need to go in and scan the atmosphere. See what is going on, especially when it's not your church. When you go into somebody else's spaces, go in there and start looking around. Go early. Don't go only the time you finna minister. Go the Sunday before. See what the atmosphere is like. Go in there and look around and listen to the service and see what their flow is. Because God may be calling you to do something and you may need to know how to do it. That's my little cheat code on making sure that you aren't stepping into an atmosphere and getting caught up in what your assignment was, but then the people that's in there that's supposed to receive from you don't get it because it wasn't set up right. This gives you an opportunity to see where you fit in with this, see how you need to approach it, see if you can adjust yourself to make sure that they get the message that God is sending. Because everybody's not going to be like, oh, we know what this is about. We got this. We got your message. Yep, that was great. You started moving or you started singing, and I knew exactly where you were going. Psalmist was great. The music sounded good. You're not going to always get that. Sometimes you're going to get, I didn't understand anything that was happening because I've never seen anybody minister and dance. I didn't know they did that in church. Or, the lady started singing, but wasn't she supposed to be singing the song that we heard on the radio? Because the song and the lyrics started being something different. I didn't know what she was doing, and she just started going and I didn't know what that was, and so I was waiting on her to get back to the lyrics. So I ain't like that song. You singing prophetically, and they don't even know that the voice of God is going forward. Or somebody started playing in a different sound to shift, and God has shifted the musicians into open heavens, and the sound is all heavenly and angelic, and people are like, "What happened to the downbeat?" Because they've never heard that before. So you have to sometimes go in and access a place, go in and start to look around and figure out how you fit in to make sure that people get it. Give me 1 second to come back, y'all. We are F2G Radio, and we're going to take a quick break, and we will be back in just a moment with our topic for the day, Beyond the Scope. I am Tennille, and I am F2G everything, literally the CEO. And I'm your host for today, and I'm live with Kelly Webb, who is our communications director and our publicist, y'all. So we got a double duty going on today. Excited to be on with you all. So welcome to F2G. If this is your first time listening to us live on the radio, welcome to F2GRadio.net. Thank you for joining us. Continue to subscribe and listen in and join us for different things. Make sure that you subscribe on patreon.com/F2G, and make sure that you are tuning in every morning at 7:45 a.m. for Morning Social. Yes, y'all, we are returning back to the radio for Morning Social. We did it the way God told us to do it, and we're going to continue to do it the way He tells us to do it. So if you get on and you hear music, He wants you to worship. Just start worshiping. But if you get on and you hear us talking, be ready to respond. Know that you have a chat. Go into your chat, talk to us over there, and we're going to relay into this message and talk to you back. Okay. We love you guys so much and so good. Give us a moment and we will be right back with y'all.
We got to do it together. Hey, put your hands together. I gotta see you over here. Put your hands together. Singers, let's tell them tonight. Hey, you know what it says? Get ready. We're crossing over. Get ready. We're crossing over. Our time kingdom will is over. He promised us a land which we didn't take. He promised to give us things we did not build. He did for graveyards and other things we did not plant. Take a look around now. In just a few moments, we're crossing it today with no point of return. It is God's will that we proceed to where we belong. It's what the Bible Put your hands together. Y'all ready? Let's do it together. Get ready, say. You're crossing over. Get ready. You're crossing over. Say, our time kingdom will is over. He promised us a land which we didn't take. He promised to give us cities we did not build. Oh, yeah. He did for graveyards and other things we did not plant. Hey, take a look around. In just a few moments. We're crossing it today with no point of return.
Well, welcome back, you all. We are back with F2G Radio. This is Morning Social. I am Tennille, and we are live right now with the F2G execs are in the building on today. So we are excited about this. We are talking about being beyond the scope, and that is the topic that God gave us today, y'all. Oh, when I heard the topic, I was like, here we go. He's strengthening. He getting us back to where we started at because he was throwing topics at me left and right before, and I was like, okay, God, how much more we got to talk about? And I started worrying about what we were going to speak on. This morning, I had a lot of topics in my head, a lot of my own topics, things that were popping up that I was thinking of. And I was like, I could talk about this because I know about that. I could talk about this because I know about that. And then I stopped and I remembered getting back to the basics, making sure that I do it the way God told me to. And I went right back to, okay, God, what would you have me speak to your people about today? And it was an instant beyond the scope. So we are talking about being beyond the scope, about seeing and making sure that you are accessing and looking around and activating yourself in certain atmospheres. also in your own journey, making sure that when you are walking, you are not just tunnel vision, because everything can't be just in that little spot. You got to be able to open your mind up to go beyond that, because these days with everything going around, you can be in dangerous spots while you walking through stuff and you got all this chaos going on around you, but you don't see any of it. You just walking oblivious. No, not knowing that you're walking into war zones, not knowing that you're walking into bad spaces. No, no, this is where your assignment and your alignment with God is important. So excited to be back with y'all one more time. And we are live right now with Kelly Webb. And B Snow has joined us this morning. So we're excited to have him on this morning with us. Was B again as we are talking on here. He done brought me my specs, y'all. I can see. Y'all had to be there. All right. So we are in the building and excited about being here. So we're going to continue on with our conversation. And one of the questions I have to ask is, if you are on a journey and you feel like something deterred you, like say for instance you got drawn into, and I'm not going to use somebody else, use your own stuff, you got drawn into something that you wanted to do, but you realize that God may not have sent you that route. How do you realign yourself? Do you finish out the thing that you started because you've drawn other people into that, or do you cut it off and start to adjust yourself? Like, how do you do it? Kenny, I saw you on mute.
Sorry. Okay. I was running. I was like, she gonna call my name. Hold on. Catch my breath. Okay. How do I realign myself if I feel that I've fallen off course, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know what? To be honest, because I have, so I can use this. This is a perfect question for me. I've definitely been one that's fallen off course. I've fallen off of what was right for me, and to be honest, the way I did it was I started in meditation. A lot of times people say, you start in prayer and you got to get back into it like that. No, I had to start in meditation because for me, my first step of doing things is clearing. You got a really bad echo. Is clearing my mind uh, of whatever it is that could have been able to filter in. So for me, meditation is um, is a way of kind of like finding it. Whenever I meditate, it helps. It'll force whatever it is that's behind to come up, if that makes sense. It'll make whatever my distraction is come forward because I know that doesn't want me to take my mind off of it. So I'm acknowledging that. So meditation is always first, and then from there, I'll go into prayer. I'll go into everything else. But my first form, I have to meditate because I'm forcing it to come forward.
Okay, so just for clarity, you said meditate. How do you meditate?
I'll go complete silent. Like, um, I have two ways that I meditate. Let me just say it that way. I'll meditate with either a sound. Me personally, I have two sounds that I listen to. It's either really soft music or rainstorms. And the reason that rainstorms is primarily my choice is because mentally I put in my head that whenever it's raining or storming, God is cleansing the earth. It's something my nana used to always say, just along the lines of, when it's crying, God is, or the angels will shed tears. It's the old school thing. But one thing with me, and I've always held on to it, is I would listen to rainstorms like storms. Now, I'm the same person that does not like thunder, lightning, all those kind of storms for real. But for me, I can listen to when it's consistent raining, um, or the thunder in the distance, because it relaxes me. It automatically, I don't know if anybody else is like that, but rain itself automatically puts me in a relaxed state. Um, like I am
Mm-mm.
just calm. Um, so I'll meditate to that. The other way is I literally cut everything off and it's complete silence. So any thought, and I'll consistently say something like, um, God take control. I only want to meditate on Him. I only want to think of Him. And I'll repeat that until whatever, and it never fails me personally. Um, Whatever it is that's trying to become a distraction, it comes up. Whether it's, girl, did you cook that meal? Or so and so said this, or this was a situation that's been bothering me. That'll come up, but that allows me to say, that I needed to go away. I need the rain now, rainstorms, wash away. Um, until I'm literally at a clear state where my mind is at peace, my thoughts are at ease. And then I can go into prayer, and then I can go into everything else I need to, but I consistently do that. And I'll do it at random times. I don't know if you've ever seen me, but I just kind of go into like a zone out where it's like, okay, I need to meditate on this for a minute. Or it helps me. And that's kind of my way of realigning and kind of letting things go. Does it happen immediately? No, I'll be lying if I said it did. But it helps me get to that point. And then I just try to hold on to it and stay, focused as possible. So yeah.
Okay, well, I understand that. The reason why I asked about that, making sure that we understand and clarification of meditating, because everybody has their different thoughts about how you meditate. And for me, I know I meditate on the word. Like I get a scripture in my head, and that's the word that I'm gonna get stuck there. Or if it's a verse that I know that means several different things, and I can apply it to my life today. That's the one thing that I'm gonna continue to bring back up in my head. But I also can sit inside a room, like you said, with just music going, and I'm okay, and it's just calming. My other mode of meditation is the water. I am a water person. Now, you talked about the rain. Let me tell you how me and the rain don't get along. I get why it happens. I understand what God is doing, and I ain't got no complaints about that. But why my legs and stuff, everything that happened to me growing up gotta hurt every time it starts raining and storming. Why? When it
I
get
can't with you.
I mean, seriously, I'm like, why does that happen? I heard my mom and them talking about it when I was young, and they Arthur this, and oh, I had surgery, and then I'm like, how your body reacting to the rain that's out? This don't make no sense. Well, now that I'm in my 40s, I'm like, oh, okay, Mama wasn't exaggerating. This is a thing. Okay. Like I be praying, Jesus, why? Can we just not do that? Can we not have the rain trigger? When it get ready to be raining season in Chicago, I want to be in another city that's not raining. Like can we do that? Or when it get too cold outside, can somebody cut the heat up in the house? It's just I try to avoid it at all costs. But
Yeah, and I get that because when it rains, when it literally rains, like I said, I'm the same person that's like, y'all. I'm gonna be so real. I'm still old school. When they say it's about to be a thunderstorm,
she turned
clearly
off
you see me.
everything.
I turn everything off. I'm unplugging stuff because again, look.
Yeah.
I don't play those games.
I was
And when
like,
when it
they said it's gonna
storms,
rain. You should plug in your phone and charge it up. She'd be like,
I don't know about that. And when it storms and stuff like that, yeah, my back is always hurting. Like I know when it's about to rain before it starts. I feel it, but
that's strange. That's supposed to happen.
and it's not. But the funny thing. I've been able to do that, to feel or smell when it's gonna rain since I was a little girl, and I don't know why, but now it's just enhanced because I'm in my 40s too, so I feel it more. But the crazy thing is Jada feels it, and she just turned 20 something. How old is that girl? Anyway, the baby girl, and she'd be like, "Oh my God, it's supposed to rain," and I'm like, "You are way too young to know that." But I get it because I did too. It's just I
Yeah.
think the sound and the fact that I know since it's not literally doing it, probably that's where it could just go. But it sends me to a peaceful place. And, I love the fact that you said the scripture, yeah. But in order, because sometimes my mind and the situation can be so haywire, I have to be able to clear in order to actually
Yeah.
hear it.
Yeah.
And that's why I say, like, my first step, so I can actually hear. Because it's kind of like whatever the situation is trying to block the voice of God. And I need to make sure I'm not missing his voice, assuming it's my voice. Or, you know what I'm saying? Um, Taking my voice thinking it's his. I think that's how I'm saying it. But you know what I mean. So my
Confusing
first
his
thing
voice for
is,
yours. Yeah.
my first thing is shutting myself up and everything else that's trying to attach. But
Right.
yeah,
To have that space in your head where you can say, okay, I'm clear now and I can hear him clearly. I get
yeah.
that part. B, are you there? Are you there, sir? B is not there. He is there.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Okay, we're talking about being beyond the scope or going beyond the scope and
Hmm.
accessing areas and not being so tunnel vision. What's your perspective on that? Oh, wow.
I'm sorry. I look.
I was
We
finna
on
say,
the
you
radio, and I'm
win.
trying to. What?
Yeah.
No, I'm on my computer trying to log into the station so we can make sure we're doing what we're doing. Um, but repeat that last part one more time for me, please.
Going beyond the scope. Like, what's your perspective on that?
Beyond the scope. I think that it definitely is something that is kind of needed for right now. Is it? I kind of caught myself in kind of like this head space, like I think Sunday, where like doing things that you need to do in order to, I guess, prepare yourself to hear from the Lord easier, and being able to fully not just hear Him but actually do what He's telling you to do is something that we have been talking about for years. Um, and I think that part of that too is because we kind of go into this full conversation of going past what you're seeing, but then at the same time, it's like, okay, how many of us actually like for real do that in real life? Like, not even on like oh, I did that last week. Like, no, 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 no. How many times a day do you do that? Where you're not affected by things that you see. You're not affected by things that you hear. You're not affected by things, circumstances that are around you, but rather you are fully in tune with the voice of God and fully going after what He has for you to do. I can be honest and say that I have not been the most consistent. Bless God. That's where it begins. When you start being really honest about your scope, or even just honest about what your perspective is, like little picture versus big picture, that's when you can start seeing a change in how you're able to go about your daily life, or even just what that looks like for you on a daily basis. So for me, I've definitely been honest in this definite season of I'm just now starting to go all in as far as like what it looks like to be consistent for the Lord, what it looks like to be um, present and hearing Him always, and not just wanting to do whatever I want to do. Open to even like what Kelly Wood was saying, was to meditate on the Word of God, was to meditate and not just pray, but literally the Bible actually talks about meditation as you ingesting the Word of God and you're allowing that thing to permeate, and you're permeating on His Word, or even just thinking on His Word day and night. So it don't have to look like you reading books and books of the Bible. It can look like you literally taking one scripture and throughout the entire day figuring out how that could apply to whatever the situation may look like. And you practicing how to even turn that word into practicality. So that you start when you start stop like sorry, when you stop trying to do things your way and actually like practice the word of God, then yeah, your scope going go grow. It's going to become bigger. You're going to see a bigger picture to what you need to do. So it's just about what you want at the end of the day. To be honest.
Okay, that's good. I enjoyed that. Like differences and making sure how you are setting yourself up to be aligned with God. I want y'all to take a moment and think about what a scope is. Think about the scope on a telescope, right? Think about the part where you put your eye on it and you're looking through it and you can see up into the sky, right? Remember we used to do this in school. We would have those telescopes and we're looking, or we would have those in our backyard for those of us that were blessed enough to have them in our homes, right? You had it, so you're looking through that. Imagine that you had the small one, right? And it started off and you could see, but as you pushed it out, it got wider, wider, and wider as you pushed it out, wider and wider, right? So you can see where it expanded out. It went from being this little dot to this big space where you can actually see around you, right? And also then you're looking up to the sky and what can you see? You can see it closer. It's becoming more clearer. It's not as far away to you as it was when you first started looking, right? So how we look through our scope is to make sure that we're not tunnel vision. Tunnel vision is starting at the smallest part. I can't see around me right now, God. I don't know exactly what's happening in all these other spaces, but this part right here, I can see just that much. But when I start to expand myself out, when I start to live right before the Lord, when I start to do what God has called me to do, when I stop doing everything that's under the sun, when I stop sinning, when I stop cussing, when I stop um, fornicating, I'm naming some of these sins. When I stop being manipulative, when I stop being just not aligned with God, when I start reading His Word more, when I get into the study of what it is, and I'm not trying to twist His Word around to fit my life. When I'm pressing myself forward and I'm actually walking out the assignment that He gave me, but I'm not trying to cut corners with that assignment. When I'm doing all of those things right, and I'm starting to step up, even when some of the things I do in my life is wrong, but the main things that He's telling me to do, I'm trying to make sure that I stay focused. That expands my scope. That expands what I see. That expands where I am. It adjusts me out, and I'm able to go forward in everything that I'm doing with a whole different perspective. I'm able to walk it out. I'm able to sound it out. I'm able to talk to people. I'm able to give it to them as they needs to be. I mean, we're looking at all of these different things that's happening in life right now, and we can be broken down by them, completely broken down, and still just stuck in a place. But we're still fighting, we're still moving, we're still doing what we have to do. Like even right now, I'm still dealing with the whole fact of my social medias being gone, and I could be really just broken down and hurt continuously. But I have some people that love me enough that were able to go on there and grab the video of my mom, because I think that was my most important thing to me was the last video I have of me and my mom ever being together is on that thing because it was alive. And so I was able to get a video of me being able to see the video, being recorded. And I know my son told me that he can get it. So I'm like, okay, as long as I can get that, I can figure out pictures or whatever else. I just need that thing. Right? I'm excited about that. That made me feel like forget the social media pages. I don't worry about clicks, follows, and likes. I don't care. My thing is it's not paying me for the clicks, the follows, and the likes. That's on social media. Those people that's on social media are not buying from me every single day. They're just on social media to pay attention to whatever I'm typing or whatever they're doing just to have people on there. And that's fine. It's social media. It's where you talk to people or where I say where people's stories lie. That's what I say. And I don't mean ill, Lye or Li. It's Lie. They lie. Because a lot of those things that's on there is not real. That's where you can be whoever you want to be, right? On social media. So I'm not concerned about those pages. I can always start another page, and probably what God is doing is cleansing me because most of those people that's on those pages probably don't need to be there. And I'm fine with that. But I had to get to a place where I wasn't broken for that. I'm seeing beyond what's happening to me right now. My scope is not small anymore. I'm going beyond what my natural eye can see into seeing where God is sending me. And where God is sending me does not allow me to get caught up in other people's stuff. It does not allow me to get caught up in what people think I should be doing and how I should be doing it. God gave me a vision, and I got to listen to your opinion on what God's vision was. Like, it's and it really just throws me off. It's like, okay, until God say, hey, talk to this person because they have a part of this vision that I gave you. Now I've had that happen where God gave me a vision of something. This is what I need you to do for this business, and He said, now go to this person because this person has the other part of that business. And I had to go to somebody else and say, this is what God told me. This is what He showed me, and then He directed me to you because apparently you have a part of it. And was like, you know what? God showed me this last night. I didn't know who it was for. But this is that part that you're looking for. And I had to take that part and go, oh, so what is your part in the business? And they told me, no, I don't have a part in your business. The thing is that I was supposed to design this part for you. And I received that. Okay, thank you. I appreciate you for following through what God told you to do. And it was like, okay, and if you need any more help, you can always call me. Fine. Okay, God, I got my piece and her piece. What do I do now? What do you want me to do now? I have no problem with going to people and getting opinions or their parts of things when God tells me to do it and He shows it to me. What I have a problem with is when people start trying to push their opinions on you. But that's why you have a scope. You need to be able to expand out, use discernment, and find out where God wants you to be. Don't get caught up in what other people want you to do because that's when you lose sight of what God told you. And when you lose sight of what God told you, you failed your assignment. And one thing about me, I ain't no failure. So I'm gonna fight for my assignment to be done, and I'm gonna get it done the way I need it to be done, so that I can make sure that it's done His way. Because it's like I even mess myself up sometimes. Like I'll get in my own head, like this would be cool to do it. Let's do this. That was not God's will. That's not what He told me to do. And I had to go back and restructure because I didn't do what He told me to do. It didn't work out. And I love the way God is with me. When I do stuff and just do it off of Tennille and I fail at it, it don't be like I told you so. It'd be more like you want to try my way. And I'm like, yep. let's just go back to the last thing you told me to do and I'm going to do that. Okay, now that I'm doing that, now it's working. Now I'm seeing growth in this. Now I'm seeing I'm seeing people prosper. Now I'm seeing people be drawn to what you design. Because if we automatically do things the way God tells us to do it, we'll see what it is that He's calling us to do, and we won't get caught up in our own stuff or anybody else's. So that's where my mind goes when I think about a scope. I think about the telescope and how we start small and how it expands out as you push it forward. And as we push forward, our scope widens and we're able to see more ground. We're able to see more around us. We're able to check out what's happening and understand and get aligned with what God has for us. So that's what I get out of this. Kelly, I saw the heart. What you got?
No, I'm in agreement with what you're saying. I love how you brought up the fact of, before you even kind of went further into it, you had us to stop and just picture looking through a scope, whether it be a telescope or a microscope. When I when I heard you say look through it, because my mind instantly went to telescope when you said look down and it gets bigger, and I'm like, yep. Because anybody that knows me know I was forever with my face in a telescope, um, or a microscope. I mean, so I'm like, for me, just having that type of visual with everything else you're saying, it's like I get it. Um, Having the ability to, and I feel like this is part of looking or seeing beyond the scope as well. having the ability to see how someone else sees things. I think that's really important. Um, breaking up the aspect of the social media. Um, People don't necessarily know that they are looking at a lot of people's bed of lies. Um, a lot of times it's a publicity thing with something like that because we need things to look a certain way for that specific person. Not everybody, but you have a nice little chunk of folks that live like that. Them filters be for real. Um, them sets, set locations be awesome. Uh, but it can also cause a lot of misconceptions. And I think once people actually can look within, deep within themselves, like the fact you brought up, just needing a video, everything else is pretty much not relevant. You were able to look into yourself, and you were able to see that what's really important is this, and everything else is what it is. Um, I think a lot of times and I can say because I've done it, I didn't look within myself enough to say this is what it really needs to be for me. Um, because I was told for so long what it needs to be for me, if that makes sense. Um, so now looking at myself and looking through my own personal scope, I'm no longer allowing somebody to look through a scope at me and tell me how it should look or what it should be like or um, what the true definition of my life is laid out, and these are the small pieces in between. Like I can now look through the scope myself, or I could say that I'm now looking through the scope that God put there, so I can see better of what He wants me to see and live it out that way. So yeah, I'm loving how you broke that down. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, y'all, it's 8:56, and as we close out the radio station segment of Morning Social, I want to say to you all to remember who you are in God. Remember your focus. Remember what He told you to do. Stop worrying about what other people are doing. Oh my gosh. Remove yourself from what other people are doing. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Stop for trying to figure out why yours didn't work, but theirs did. Why you can do certain things. Because if you think about it, I want you to remember that there are certain things that you can do that other people can't do. Stop only looking at what you can't do and start zoning in on what you can. What gifts did God give you? What did He call you to do? Where did He call you to go? Who did He call you to pour into? Who did He call you to leave your legacy with? Yes, some people are big named and on big stages doing big things. Did you do the work to get there? No, so get to where you need to get at right now. Like, stop worrying about that. If you didn't do the work to get there, then you need to focus in on where you are and what can you do right there. Not being content there or being stuck there, but do some work there. Because God will give you more when you do great with the little. Take the little things that He gave to you and work through that. And then move on from there. This is Morning Social. I am Tennille, and you are live right now with F2G Radio on f2gradio.net. Make sure y'all are joining us every Monday through Friday, 7:45 a.m. We are back on the radio, and we will be going forward with different topics, and God is adjusting and moving us into our next, y'all, so be ready for it because times are changing, the atmosphere is changing, the world is changing, and Jesus is coming back real soon because Revelation is going forward out here in these streets. I'm just saying, y'all got to pay attention to your times. Make sure that you are Subscribe to patreon.com/F2G. Subscribe to the newsletter that happens on F2Gradio.net, and be ready for 2024 events. We are putting those out real soon so that you can go ahead and sign up for them, so you can grab your tickets, so you can prepare yourself. We are getting ready for the newness of God in 2024. We are getting ready for what God has us going into, and we're going into it with a whole different mindset and a whole different aspect. So we love you guys so much and so good. And we out of here on the radio, but we are still live on Clubhouse. So if you want to hang out with us for about 15, 16 minutes, jump on over here and hang out with us. We ready. We here for y'all. Okay? We here for you. I'm just saying. More like here for you. Just, I'm just saying. Be ready to get your life changed. All right, let's go.
I need you to release your faith. I know what you've been through, but I came to tell you that God is changing your story. If you believe that He's changing your story, I want to release this in your atmosphere. I know you've been